This is going to be MAGA eating its own tail. You know the people are really pissed off, Piers? Not me, MAGA. Because MAGA wants the public records of the Epstein files. They were promised it. And
wow.
No, they're friends. You heard,
wow. Wajahat, are you suggesting Donald Trump killed Jeffrey Epstein? Is that what you're doing, having announced you hate conspiracy theories?
You said that.
Is that your position? Is that there were clearly a lot of very high-profile people who knew what Jeffrey Epstein was up to and have never been held to account. And it is completely ridiculous.
Yes. If you had cancer of the brain and I cut your head off, would you give me credit for getting rid of the cancer? I mean, wow. I guess. I mean, illegal immigration is definitely... Dave, you couldn't defend a single one of those topics. Hey, if Piers wants to host a debate on that, I will gladly talk to you about any one of these topics, Dave, all of these.
So look, this is one of those moments where you can literally watch the left eat itself, trying to attack MAGA while MAGA is supposedly eating itself. And it's absolutely hilarious. Wajahat comes out swinging with this whole conspiracy about Trump and Epstein, right? Like he's about to drop some bombshell. But here's the thing, and I know you guys already see this coming, he's not actually mad about conspiracy theories. He loves them when they go after Trump. He hates them when they don't fit his narrative. And what you're about to see is Michael Knowles and Dave Rubin absolutely dismantle this guy while he's flailing around trying to make connections that don't exist. Pay attention to how Wajahat tries to act like he's against conspiracy theories while literally spreading one in real time. It's genuinely insane. Let's get into it.
By Dan Bongino and Kash Patel, unequivocally, I presume you, as a man who abhors conspiracy theories, unless you're spreading them about assassination attempts, you would like to immediately applaud them for clearing this up.
All I got to say is good luck, Dan Bongino and Kash Patel, because never go full conspiracy theorist. This is going to be MAGA eating its own tail. You know the people are really pissed off, Piers? Not me, MAGA. Because MAGA wants the public records of the Epstein files. They were promised it. And now Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, who promoted the conspiracy about the deep state, right, and pro-January 6th, now they are the deep state, head of the FBI and the deputy. And guess what? MAGA is pissed off. And the reason why, probably, they don't want to release these records is Jeffrey Epstein, according to his own words, you've heard the tapes, he said, who was his closest friend? Donald Trump. Who did he party with? Donald Trump. Who's on the flight logs?
Oh my God,
Donald
you're
Trump.
about to spread the worst conspiracy theory of them all. Wow.
What? No, they're friends. You heard,
wow. Wajahat, are you suggesting Donald Trump killed Jeffrey Epstein? Is that what you're doing, having announced you hate conspiracy theories?
You said that.
Is that your position?
No, I think he killed himself. I think Dan and Kash Patel are actually honest. I think he killed himself. But MAGA's pissed off right now because MAGA was promised full release of the public files. Pam Bondi hasn't done it. Kash Patel hasn't done it. Dan Bongino hasn't done it. If you're paying attention to MAGA right now, they're divided right now, and they're going after Dan and Kash, and this is going to be a huge problem for MAGA. Not for the rest of us, not for the normies.
Hold on, I thought I was
the normies. I wouldn't be quite so hasty with that self-description.
I thought we're representative of MAGA. Can we get in on this?
Yes.
I'm not going after Dan and Kash. I don't know Kash personally. I know Dan pretty well, and I trust Dan. I don't think Dan would lie. You got to pay attention not only to what Dan and Kash said, but what they didn't say. They didn't say that Jeffrey Epstein's suicide was all on the up and up. They didn't say that Jeffrey Epstein didn't have connections to intelligence agencies. They didn't say that Jeffrey Epstein wasn't permitted to kill himself. The fact that you had malfunctions of multiple security cameras and multiple guards not showing up, they didn't say that Jeffrey Epstein didn't, as Alan Dershowitz suggested the other day, pay the guards off to allow him to kill himself. There's still all sorts of questions about it. There's very legitimate questions, unless you, Wajahat, think that the Jeffrey Epstein case was just open and shut and there's no reason to dig any deeper. Obviously, there are very legitimate questions about it. But what Dan and Kash said can be true, and there can still be much more to learn about the corruption that involves very, very high levels of government.
Well, the biggest conspiracy theory, which I think happens to be true, is that there were clearly a lot of very high-profile people who knew what Jeffrey Epstein was up to and have never been held to account. And it is completely ridiculous that the only person languishing in a prison in America for any connection to do with Epstein is Ghislaine Maxwell, his madame, who helped him facilitate a lot of this abuse and is quite rightly serving a very long prison sentence. But no man has ever, who was participating with him, has ever been brought to justice. I mean, that is ridiculous. I want to ask you, Destiny, about something that's just been dropping, which is about Bruce Springsteen told a UK crowd that Donald Trump was unfit and treasonous. Trump responded in his normal, calm a self-effacing man. They called him a dried-out prune of a rocker on Truth Social. Highly overrated, Bruce Springsteen. Not a talented guy, just a pushy, obnoxious jerk. And then he posted this video.
Okay, so hold on. Let me break down what just happened here, because this is actually perfect. Wajahat starts off acting like he's some sort of truth teller, right? Like he's the guy who hates conspiracy theories. But then what does he immediately do? He goes full conspiracy theorist about Trump and Epstein being best friends. Like, dude, the irony is so thick you could cut it with a knife. And here's what's hilarious. He's trying to create this narrative that MAGA is divided and eating itself because Kash Patel and Dan Bongino said Epstein wasn't murdered. But like, who in MAGA is actually mad about this? I genuinely would love to know. Because what I'm seeing is Wajahat projecting what he wants to be true onto a movement he doesn't understand at all. Michael Knowles comes in and just methodically destroys the entire premise. He's like, look, Dan and Kash said Epstein wasn't murdered. That doesn't mean everything was fine. That doesn't mean there wasn't corruption. That doesn't mean intelligence agencies weren't involved. That doesn't mean guards weren't paid off. There's still massive questions here, and Wajahat has no response to that because he wasn't actually trying to have a real conversation. He was trying to do a gotcha that completely backfired. And by the way, Piers makes the most important point of the entire segment. Where are all the men who were clients of Epstein? The only person in prison is Ghislaine Maxwell. That's it. That's the real conspiracy. Not whether Trump and Epstein were friends decades ago, before anyone knew what Epstein was doing. The real conspiracy is that there are dozens, maybe hundreds of powerful men who participated in this, and we don't know who they are. The media doesn't want to talk about that. They want to talk about Trump because it fits their narrative. But here's the thing about Wajahat's argument. He knows it's weak. He knows Trump cut ties with Epstein years before any of this came out. He knows the flight logs everyone screams about don't show what people claim they show. He's being deliberately dishonest to play to an audience that just wants to hear Orange Man bad. It's so transparent, man. It's the same playbook every single time. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about the Epstein files, though. Do you think we'll ever get the full truth? Or is this just going to be buried forever because too many powerful people are implicated?
This video. And my question, Destiny, is can you watch that with a straight face? And it appears you can. Did you not find that even vaguely funny?
Every time I see a picture of the 9% body fat, 180-pound, rippling muscled Trump because of the very real medical report we saw that assessed his physical condition, I'm in awe of him. I do agree with what Bruce Springsteen said, though. And I think the courts are basically reaffirming this, that Donald Trump is doing everything he can to destroy rule of law in this country. And that's why we are so desperate to talk about literally anything else, even if that's the prostate of the former president, than what Trump's current behavior
I've got
is.
a question for you, just to see whether your own health and whether your own Trump derangement syndrome is at an advanced aggressive stage. And it's this. Do you give Trump any credit for reducing the number of illegal people coming over the southern border by 96% in 3 months? Yes or no?
It's a strange question. Like,
not really. It's a very simple.
It kind of is.
It's a very simple, factual question.
If you had cancer of the brain and I cut your head off, would you give me credit for getting rid of the cancer? I mean, wow. I guess. I mean, illegal immigration is definitely...
You don't think it's an achievement?
Illegal immigration has definitely decreased. All of our tourism has decreased. If part of the reason why the immigration or illegal immigration has decreased is because nobody wants to come to this country anymore because they can see it's turning into a massive shit show. I mean, does he get credit for that? I guess, sure.
Piers, can I defend it?
Yes, you can.
I think it has to do with the foreign terrorist
listen, as
organization.
a
I don't think even, to be honest with you, Dave, it doesn't even have to be defended. Obviously,
it doesn't have to be defended.
Obviously, it's a stunning achievement, which everybody should say is a great achievement.
I'm a laminated card-carrying member of MAGA. I go to the meetings with Knowles. He brings the cigars. I bring the tequila. We talk about these people. Look, I can easily defend
Just like
the border.
I
can easily defend the trade deals. I can easily defend what he's doing in the Middle East. I can easily defend what he's doing doing with Russia, Ukraine. I can easily defend what he's doing as it relates to getting wokeness out of the schools and blowing apart the Department of Education.
If Piers wants to host a debate on
that, I will gladly
all of
those things very easily.
Any one of these topics, Dave. All of these.
Can you defend this, Dave Rubin?
The entire world market is shuddering.
Dave Rubin.
The bonds market is shuddering as a result of these things. Nobody agrees.
Well, actually, the stock market is actually
the
stock market's actually doing fine. Now everyone's calmed down and stopped shaking and screaming. It's actually fine.
All the losses were.
All right, so here's my final take on this whole thing. Wajahat got absolutely demolished in this segment, and he doesn't even realize it. He came in thinking he had this killer argument about MAGA dividing over the Epstein files. And instead, Michael Knowles and Dave Rubin just calmly explained why he's wrong. And he had nothing. And that last part about the border and the economy, Destiny's sitting there trying to compare reducing illegal immigration by 96% to cutting someone's head off to cure brain cancer. Like, are you serious right now? That's the level of argumentation we're dealing with. The guy literally cannot give Trump credit for anything, even when the numbers are undeniable. Even when it's exactly what the American people voted for, he still has to spin it as somehow bad. Dave Rubin's sitting there saying he can defend every single Trump policy. Border, trade deals, Middle East, Russia, Ukraine. And Destiny's response is just, no, you can't. That's it. No actual rebuttal. No policy discussion. Just denial. And then Wajahat tries to pivot to the stock market shuddering. And Dave shuts that down too, because the market is actually fine once everyone stopped panicking. This is what the left does every single time. They create a crisis, they panic, they spread fear, and then when things stabilize, they pretend it never happened and move on to the next outrage. Rinse and repeat. Here's what really matters. Trump is delivering on exactly what he promised. The border is secure. Illegal crossings are down 96%. Foreign policy is being restructured to put America first. And the people who said the world would end if Trump won are now grasping at straws trying to find anything to attack him with. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you hit that subscribe button and drop a comment letting me know what topic you want me to cover next. Do you want more MAGA Civil War discussions? More border policy? More economic breakdowns? Let me know. This is what we do here at MB. We cut through the BS and tell you what's actually happening. Stay sharp. I'll see you in the next one.